Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to my channel. My name is Joanna. If this is your first time here with me, thank you for being here. Thank you for having the courage to step outside of your own confinements. My job is pretty straightforward, is to support you in your own healing journey. So it's spiritual healing journey. So, well, not just spiritual, but your spiritual healing journey. So if you are here, you are on a spiritual journey. In fact, we all are on a spiritual journey, just not everybody believes in that. Chances are you do believe it, otherwise you wouldn't be here. This energy wouldn't attract you. So thank you for being here. I hope you like what you hear in this channel. If you feel something is not aligned with you, put it on the shelf. It may not be for you, or it may not be for now. It may be for later. And I always say, doesn't matter what comes out of my mouth, doesn't matter what I channel or who I channel, even if it's source, I do not want you to believe everything I say. I want you to use your own discernment. I want you to use your own power, your own intuition, your own inner knowing to assess what is right for you and what is not right for you, because that's essentially you being in your own power. And there's nothing greater in my work that I do than to help people embody their own power. So if you're into that sort of thing, thank you for being here. And I would love for you to share it with other people if they are aligned with this material. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for being here. Without you, I wouldn't be doing this supporting work. And it looks like you are being supported by it. Thank you so much for your comments. I really appreciate it. It keeps me on track that I'm doing what I'm quote unquote supposed to be doing. And the fact that I love what I'm doing, it's the icing on the cake. So today we're going to go first and foremost, as if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, you already know that you are going through your own unique energy upgrade. And what does that really mean? An energetic upgrade is when we are getting upgraded, quite literally like a computer, to a new operating system. And this operating system is faster, it's more precise, it's expanded. And as we are in the process of being downloaded with this information, our physical body has to take time in order to accommodate this. So as you go through this your own integration process, recalibrate, regeneration, those are all the words that are coming to me. If you're going through this upgrade, and you are, chances are you know it. I'm hoping this information today is going to support you. So as we go through an energetic upgrade, my understanding is, and I've seen it with clients, that whenever we go through an upgrade, things come up to the surface. Things that have been dormant for a while, things we have forgotten. During the process of this upgrade, we are likely to experience a lot of inner revelations. So you are in the process of revealing things to yourself. And in actuality, the entire humanity is going through this process because the humanity at large has forgotten who they are. They're under the layer of forgetfulness. And as we get upgraded to these higher in energies, our levels of forgetfulness becomes less and less, which means we are becoming much more in tuned what is really beyond what we consider are real, that there is more to life than meets the eye. And that can be a little bit unnerving to some people if they are not used to seeing things beyond their typical human 3D perception. So as we go through this upgrade, how we perceive information, what we perceive, and how much we perceive is being amplified. So energetically speaking, in terms of electric charge, we are being downloaded with higher frequencies, and it is a process that takes time, and it is not necessarily an easy process to go through. Because just as I was explaining to my client before I turned on the video, we are learning how to be in two worlds, the one we can see and the one we cannot see. But we've always been in those worlds. We just haven't been aware of it. So we are becoming much more aware of the world we haven't been able to see before. And that other world is exponential. It has no edges. So we are becoming much less limited in terms of what we see and what we can experience. And some people, and likely you, have been experiencing some weird things flashing from the corner of your eye, seeing geometric patterns in your energy field, looking at things, and all of a sudden it's like a tree is speaking to you. And you might feel a little bit like you are losing your mind. Well, in fact, you are losing your old mind and you're beginning to perceive so much more. And for the identity part of you, for the ego part of you, because it's not used to experiencing these other dimensions, it's a little bit unnerving. So you are likely have had these experiences, or you will have these experiences where you will look yourself in the mirror and you're going to say, I think I'm going mad. Chances are you're not going mad. You are just in the process of perceiving some other existence that you have not been able to perceive before. That's the whole idea of moving to higher dimensions. The higher up we go, so to speak, the more we are aware of our essence, that we are all part of one, we're all part of source, we're all part of God, whatever name you want to call it. And the more awareness we have of that, the more we embody, the more we naturally begin to vibrate higher. So essentially what's happening, this upgrade, if you will, energetic upgrade, is about humanity at large beginning to remember who they are and where they come from. And with that comes the gift of a lot of power, because when we begin to remember that we are all part of source, and source is very powerful, because we are part of it, it makes us powerful by proxy. In other words, humanity is shifting in order so that it can remember how powerful humanity is. So we're moving from a space of relative disempowerment to a space of holding, embodying a lot of power. And that's on an energetic level is quite an experience, because the body, the physical body, the vehicle, and certainly the human mind is not used to holding all that frequency. And it takes toll on the physical body. So I've talked about this in the last video. You may become tired. You're thinking maybe all over the place. You might be switching your diets from, 108-degree and not knowing what the heck is happening. Your taste buds may be changing. You may be excessively thirsty. You may be tired. I already said that before. You may have flu-like symptoms, even though you don't have a flu. In other words, the body is getting used to holding onto a lot more energy than what it's used to. So make sure you give yourself plenty of time, plenty of rest, plenty of tender, loving care. But the reason why I'm saying this is that as we go through this upgrade, naturally some things will come to the surface in order to be healed. So today, I'm going to go through 3 piles, and each pile is representing what specific chakra you are healing right now, and the reasons why, and what you should focus on. But before I go through the piles, I wanted to see what we are working with on a collective level. And essentially, the chakra that collective level is working on is the heart chakra. Made perfect sense to me when it came about. Why? Because as humanity, we are learning how to be more in our hearts. We're learning how to be more in our hearts versus predominantly the head, which is where majority of people live. We're very intellectual beings, and nothing wrong with that. Intellect is very important. We need discernment. But we have become too fixated on living our life predominantly from the analytical mind, which is very limited in its nature. Heart is virtually unlimited. So think of it this way. Think of your human mind and how powerful it is, because it's still a very powerful tool, yet it's limited. And think of your heart as your second brain. In fact, your heart is far more intelligent than your logical mind. And you can be the most intelligent person in the world with the highest IQ. Your heart is far more intelligent than that. So think about it this way. If we're collectively moving to a space of a lot more intelligence, a lot less limitations, then we are essentially expanding not only how we live our life, but how we live our life on the planet Earth. So collectively speaking, we are opening up to our hearts. And as we open up to our hearts, things will naturally come up. And what came to me was the idea of forgiveness. And I thought, that's a difficult subject, because the question that was posed to me was, can you forgive your perpetrator? Wow, that's a tough one as a human being. Can you forgive your perpetrator? And there were shifts. What I was being shown is that uh, forgiveness is really the key to vibrating at higher dimensions. And I thought, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. It makes sense because what's on the other side of forgiveness? It's holding on to bitterness, anger, pity, and other lower vibrating feelings and emotions. And forgiveness allows us to let go of things like anger, resentment, bitterness. Why? Not because they're bad, but because those energies, those frequencies, because they're of lower vibration, they're very limited to us. They limit us. Now, I've worked with forgiveness most of my life. By far, the hardest person to forgive is myself. It's a lot easier for me to forgive others, but it's a lot more difficult, it seems, to forgive myself. So we all have done things, some big, some small, that we hold ourselves accountable for, but it goes beyond the accountability. We're holding ourselves hostage. So is there anything in your life that you need to forgive yourself for? First and foremost, number one. And we can talk on a different podcast how to do that. And there's various ways, starting with healing the inner child. But can you forgive yourself for what you have done or haven't done? Can you let that go? Can you learn from it as a lesson, for example? And can you let that go? Because letting that go is going to free you to experiencing so much more of your potential. Okay. The other part of the question is, can you forgive your enemy? That's a hard one. But again, on the other side of forgiveness is anger, bitterness, resentment, and frequencies that limit us. So, it's a lot easier to forgive someone who has punched you in the nose versus someone who has destroyed your life in whatever fashion, right? It's degrees. Nonetheless, forgiveness allows us to move on and beyond our hurt and pain. So if we are not forgiving, we are holding on to pain. And pain is necessary, but pain is a low frequency, especially emotional pain. So what I'm being asked to share, which I'm a little bit uncomfortable with because it's a very touchy topic. The forgiveness thing is a very touchy topic. I'm being guided to say that, if we all forgave each other, even the most horrendous people and things, we would be far better off. Forgiving does not mean excusing. It doesn't mean any of that. Forgiving simply means letting go of the pain so that it no longer holds us back. And some things or some people will be easier forgiven than others. I totally get that. But apparently forgiveness is the key to being a higher vibrational being. Okay, so I'm just going to throw it out there. Also, we're learning how to trust our intuition. We're learning how to trust our hearts more. Oftentimes, we have closed hearts because of the pain we have experienced. Again, if we are holding on to pain, we are holding on to lower frequency. And if we're holding on to pain, we don't feel safe. When we don't feel safe, it's very difficult to be fully open in the heart. Now, does forgiving somebody automatically make you feel safe? Not necessarily, but it helps. It helps you feel safer. Don't quite know exactly how that works, but it helps us apparently feel safer. So forgiveness is the big thing, learning how to trust our intuition and realizing just how powerful we are in terms of what we can create. Drastic example. If we can create wars because it's created by humans, we can equally create more peace. But it requires us to let go of the reasons behind why still humans believe that war is necessary. Every time we have a war, there's a loser than a winner. Nobody wants to be a loser. Why? Because it hurts. In fact, in any war, both parties lose because they lose people, right? And we get it. So I think that's what I'm going to say on that. Take it or leave it. See if it triggers something within you. See if there is a perpetrator in your own life that you need to forgive for. and what you need to forgive yourself for. It doesn't mean that you have to be some horrible person, finished somebody's life. You might have done something that you're not very proud of, and you're still holding on to that, and you're still feeling that. Can you forgive yourself for that? Because what it will ultimately do, it will allow you and enable you to have much greater human experiences, because it's going to help you open up your heart. When you forgive, you open up your heart. That's what I mean us to say. So now let's go through all three piles. Each pile represents what chakra you are likely to work on or would be good for you to clear, and the reasons why, and whatever else my spirit team would like you to consider focusing on. Let me just pull it away. So, and again, if you're drawn to more than one pile, the chances are each pile has something that is going to be helpful for you. Again, use your discernment. So if you're choosing pile number 1, the chakra you're working on is your solar plexus. Perfect. That's the ego. Any issues around lack of confidence or feeling superior, any issues around trusting your intuition, trusting your gut. I'm also perceiving some digestive issues. Oftentimes, in my experience, issues with digestion are very tightly connected to your own inner power. So if you have a tendency to hold your power back, you are likely going to experience some indigestion problems or some challenges with your digestive system. Okay. Do you have a challenge digesting your emotions? What does it mean to digest your emotions? Thank you. That's a really big question. Whoever asked that question. To digest your emotions simply means you let these emotions run through your body, run its course and run through your body, which requires you to feel it. Not a comfortable thing sometimes, but to digest means to allow your body to process it. If you are used to holding back your emotions, your feelings and emotions, that too is going to quote unquote hold you back. So if you've been holding yourself back from whatever in your life, and maybe it's unconscious, if you are used to sabotaging yourself, this time, especially in the next 3 to 4 months, so we're April, May, June, July, between now and July, would be really good to recognize the aspects of you that are still holding you back from experiencing whatever it is that you want to experience. If you want to experience a lot of money, I'll just use that as a basic example, and you are not able to create that for yourself, then look at the underlying belief system that tells you can't, you shouldn't, you won't, it's bad, it's not for you. Whatever objections you have unconsciously as a belief system in terms of you becoming an abundant person, you might want to look at that. Okay. And a lot of it has to do with holding your power back. So if you're pile 1, I'm pretty certain that you hold yourself back. Some people hold themselves back, some people hold themselves a lot, and that changes over time, hopefully. But you are beginning to hold yourself a lot less. So this is a beautiful time. It's like a flower that is beginning to open up. I see you as a white flower, which is very symbolic for purity and spirit, and you're opening up. So in this lifetime in particular, you are someone who is learning how to open yourself up to being a channel. Okay. So you are also a channel. I believe we're all channels. Not everybody is meant, quote unquote, to be a channel like I am a channel. But we're all channelers. We all channel energy 24/7. If you're pile 1, you are likely someone who either idolizes channelers. I wouldn't do that. Please don't do that. Don't idolize channelers. They're people just like you. You want to be a channel. You think you're a channel. You're likely a channel, and you perceive a lot of information through your body. So because you're an extrasensory person, in order for you to benefit from being a channel, you have to be able to allow yourself to perceive and receive. And that what you receive often comes through feelings and sensations. So it requires you to be in your body. If you're in your head a lot, you're not going to be in your body, and you're going to be perceiving through your intellect. So you're going to be putting your own 3D spin on it. So to be according to my team, to be an open, well-open channel, you have to let go of the control of the mind, because the mind always tries to control. If you have any control issues, if you're someone that needs to control everything, or if you feel like you have no control over your life, control issues are coming up for you. In my experience, control issues always go back to safety. So likely if you're not feeling very safe in your own body, okay? Likely because something happened, but you're not feeling safe in your body. And as a result of that, we check out in the body and we become predominantly driven by the head. And we do that because we don't want to feel. So at some point in your own evolution, your own journey, you felt a lot of certain emotions and energies, and it was too much, and you shut it down. So you are likely someone who has shut down your feelings and emotions for the purpose of preserving yourself. You're going to start to feel a lot more going forward. So it's important for you to learn how to process feelings and emotions. Okay. So that's the first lesson. Now, why is it important for you to focus on that? Intuition. You are a receiver. You are a receiver of information. And it's interesting because I was talking about the solar plexus. There's a lot of yellow here, but you can see this person is almost like perceiving around the head. So you might be perceiving through more of your head space, but it's your body that discerns this energy. I don't know how else to say it, but just because you can channel, it doesn't mean, here's how I look at it. Even if you are a channel and you must be open to the flow, I say it's important to be discerning. Just because you can channel something doesn't mean you should say it. So there's a reason why I'm saying this to somebody. Being an open channel doesn't mean you get to say whatever you want. There's a certain responsibility. That's what I'm being asked to say. So I don't know how it works for I don't know how it works for trans channels when they are out of their body. Well, they're not completely out of their bodies, what I'm being asked to say. But anyway, if you're a channel, it's really important to trust your intuition. Okay? And you will likely perceive intuition through your body, through your solar plexus. Because that is getting stronger, it's like a muscle that's getting work. It's going to likely reveal some things about yourself that you didn't know you believed. Things like, I can't be a channel. I can't do this. Confidence issues will come up. Okay. So you might be a very good channel, but if you're not feeling confident, you're not going to allow yourself to be the channel. Now, when I say channel, it doesn't mean you have to channel words like I do. You could be channeling energy. So you are likely someone who's a healer that perceives a lot of energy through the body. Okay. You might want to do some cleanse right now. I'm not a doctor, so always check with your healthcare provider. But this is also a really good time to do some cleaning around your diet. If you have been consuming foods and your body's like, no, this isn't working for me. Again, this is pointing to digestion. It would be good for you to look at your food choices because not only are your taste buds changing, what's also changing is how your body functions with this new higher frequency, and it will require sometimes different nutrients from you. Pay attention to how you're feeling around food. Delight. Let me just look at this. I just heard show them what you've got. I don't know how that's connected to the word delight, but show them what you've got. And I saw this in reverse. So this is telling me that you're not feeling confident expressing you being a champ. You're not feeling confident. Okay. If that's the case, look at the reasons why. What makes you feel not confident? What belief systems are you holding about yourself that make you believe that you're not able to do it, you're not equipped to do it, you're not a channel? Because like I said before, we're all channels, like it or not. We're all healers, like it or not. We all have a natural ability to heal. Our bodies are naturally designed to self-heal. What we think about it and what we believe about it are different things. So that's what I have for you. Pile number 1, focus on your solar plexus. All right, let me see what we have for you. Pile number 2, base chakra. Okay, this is all safety, security, all safety and security. So this is indicating to me that right about now, in the next 3 to 4 months, there's going to be some old, unhealed wounds around safety and security, where it'll be easier for you to get to the root cause why you don't feel safe and secure being in your body. What I'm seeing is an image of a young child under the age of 7. This is symbolic. That is surrounded by darkness, and there is no one around, and this child feels very scared. He or she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know where she belongs. And she's like this. She's very closed off. So pile number two, pile number two. Are you someone who tends to be emotionally very closed off? Okay. If that's the case, then I want to say that you being emotionally closed off is tied to you not feeling safe. And as a result, you may have numbed your feelings. Sometimes numbing things is good. Prolonged numbing, not so good, because then we create this built-up. You are someone who is likely going to experience some emotional outburst over the next, I want to say 3 to 4 weeks. So whenever you're hearing this in the next 3 to 4 weeks, you might experience some emotional outburst where like an old wound wants to come up. And this might come to you as a distant memory, where you have a flashback of a situation where you didn't feel safe, likely when you were young. This is an opportunity for you to acknowledge that this is still within you, but because it's coming up on a surface, because it's coming up for you to be aware of, there is something that you can do about it. You can shift that energy. So if you're experiencing anything that I've described, emotional instability, a lot of fears, a lot of issues with independence, or you are someone who is highly codependent, holding on to things, not letting things go for the fear of not being safe, I feel like it will be easier for you now than any other time to resolve these issues within yourself so that you can move on, so that you can let go of the past and that you can move on to have a greater experience. Okay. Remember I said at the very beginning, things are going to come up for people. It's a good opportunity to work with what's coming up on the surface. Now, why do you want to focus on that? Because you want to heal. You want to break your old chain. By letting go of the past hurts, of the old wounds, you're breaking off chains that have bound you. What does it mean? Well, think of yourself and being chained. You're not free anymore. You are bound. Something is holding you back. And if something is holding you back, then, well, you're not being able to do and discover so much more for yourself because you're being held back. So this distant memory, this distant hurt is holding you back from whatever it is that you want to experience. Maybe you want to experience greater love in your life, but the pain from the past, because it hasn't been healed, has been holding you back. And the reason why you're being asked to focus on your root chakra is so that you can let go, heal, move beyond the hurt and pain, move beyond living in the past, because that's what happens. When we live in fear, we live in the past. And set yourself free, essentially, is to set yourself free. Why would you want to be free? I don't know. Think about it. Why would I want to be free? So that I could express myself to the fullest, because it brings me joy. We're here to express. So anything that is suppressing your potential, and those are usually things within, it's really good time for you to focus on. Generosity. Again, this is pile number 2. This is to me about holding back emotionally and holding yourself back. Pile number 1 talked about that a little bit, but this is even deeper. This is, why do you want to heal? So that you can give and receive freely. It's as simple as that. When we're in pain, when we hold on to the past, we are closed off. We close our hearts. When we close our hearts, which is what humanity is going through right now, opening the heart chakra, we are not only able to give, but we're also able to receive. So if you have not been receiving whatever you desire, let's say greater love, it's because, think of it as your door has been shut, and it has been shut for a reason, to protect you. So you are healing so that you no longer need to live in so much fear. And it's interesting, because if this describes you, it's not that it's put in the forefront of your mind 24/7, but you do react and live your life based on your experiences. And if your experience was one where you trusted somebody and then they betrayed you, then your experience is that when I open my heart, I get betrayed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my heart so that I don't get betrayed. Why? Well, because being betrayed hurts very much. I don't want to feel betrayed, right? But if this is how we are, if we are living based on the fact that we have betrayed and we're holding on to that, then we're not opening ourselves up to receive more. Okay. So perhaps you are someone who has been betrayed. Someone you loved betrayed you. Someone you trusted in made you feel like you have to conform to the rules or else. In other words, you had to become somebody in order to be loved. And that's a limitation. So again, forgiveness is key. I talked about it at the very beginning. If you have a mom or dad or someone who's raised you and they emotionally abused you, and I'm sorry to hear that, I understand what that is, that would have created certain scars within you, would have created a certain perceptions. But you are ready to let go of that now. And whatever they did to you back then has held you back, which means they still have your power. You don't have your power back. So by forgiving and releasing, it's like you take your power back. And, I'm going to say it again. You are a powerful being. You are capable of so much. But in order for you to realize that, to realize just what you can do, you have to let go of the past so that the past no longer limits you. Also, pile two, a little bit of digestive issues. I feel it at the upper part of my stomach towards the chest area. It feels kind of heavy, so you might be experiencing some acid reflux. Okay, acid reflux. That's a sign that there is some energy coming up. Some of you might be feeling a lot of anger for the situation that transpired all those years ago, and it is okay to feel angry. In fact, it's very appropriate sometimes to feel angry. It's when we are holding on to anger for too long, when we don't process it, when we don't let it move through our bodies, that it creates havoc in the body, creates too much heat. And heat is wonderful. Too much heat can burn things. So you might be experiencing some burning sensations over the next little while as you are going through this healing process. Okay? So that's what I have for you. Pile number two. Okay, let's see what we have for you. Pile number three. What chakra are we to focus on? Crown chakra. So this is a message for you that you are opening up to the universe. We are all connected to the universe 24/7. In fact, we cannot be unplugged. Without the universe within us or without the source within us, we wouldn't exist. Okay? You are in a process of remembering who you are, where you come from. We're all in that process, but I want to say it's like you're ahead of everybody, not because you're better, but because you've attained a level of awareness that puts you in a space where relatively fewer people believe in what you believe versus the entire collective. Okay. So you are becoming much more aware of being a multidimensional being. You wouldn't resonate with this unless you are meant to hear it, because I feel that very strongly, because you might be wondering, this is what I want to say to you. Okay. Also, you are qualified. My team is qualifying you as a very potent healer. And your healing come predominantly with words. You receive and you speak. You are likely a channeler. Now, it's interesting because as we go through this process of expansion, as we open up more and more to the remembering of who we are, we begin to remember all the gifts that we possess and all the amazing tools and all the amazing abilities that we carry within us. We're all healers. We all have that potential. Whether one believes in it or not, that's a different story. But you, pile three, are becoming much more attuned to your healing abilities. So I am Joanna calling you, pile 3, a healer. What you do with it, that's entirely up to you. But the word healer is being underlined. So you likely someone who resonates with the idea of being a healer, want to be a practicing healer, are already doing healing abilities, and your capabilities are becoming stronger and wider. You're opening up to more. There's something to do with very potent healing abilities, and a lot of it is through words. Now, you can be a regular person going to a 9 to 5 job, and just what you speak and to whom has a healing quality. So you don't have to be labeled as a healer. You effectively help people heal with your presence. Okay. So if you are ordinarily a very angry person, that generally, well, yes, that will affect people around you. Yes. But I don't feel you'd be drawn to this pile. You wouldn't be drawn. If you hold a lot of anger within you, like if you're seething with anger all the time, you wouldn't be drawn to this information because it's a different frequency. So pile number 3, you are a very powerful healer. Whether you call yourself that or not, that's entirely up to you. 7 to me is what, aside from the fact that it's your 7th chakra, it's your connection to source, 7 to me represents enlightenment. It is also a month of July. So you might around between now and July, which is what? 3 to 4 months. Yes, May, June, July. I was talking at the beginning about the next 3 to 4 months, everything is amplified or something to that effect. Between now and July, you're likely going to experience a lot more visibility to things you were not able to see before. It's that you're getting an instant plug in to information that you were not able to reach before. And it's not that it's not that you didn't have access to this information. It's only because you are holding yourself back. So you, pile number 3, must have done substantial amount of inner work in order for you to get to this space. This is what I'm being asked to say. Okay. So deal with your crown chakra. Why? You're here to embrace oneness. We all are. But you in particular are here to embrace oneness. What does that mean? It's not just the idea of oneness. It's embodying the concept of oneness. What does that mean? It's embodying the awareness that we are all energy and there is no disconnect between you and I. We feel separate because of our ego structure and our humanness, but energetically, there is no end between you and I, which we're all connected. So one of your powerful messages is that we are all connected. We are all part of one. We are all part of source. And those are big words. You know, there are many people out there in the world conditioned under certain beliefs that if you say that they are same as God, they're called blasphemy. Now, are we God? No. Are we part of God? Yes. Is God within us? Yes. Can we be separate from God? No. This is how you're here to serve. How you do it, how you process that information through you, how you share it, that's entirely up to you. But you are potentially a very powerful healer that helps people heal with the words, with your words. You are basically channeling energy through your words. So if you have any issues with your throat chakra, that's going to come up to the surface. It's going to likely come up as something for you to work with because I see the suppression. Also, if you are someone like that, chances are pretty high that you've lost your head for talking about these things. Much like Jesus or Yeshua, was crucified apparently because of the truth he spoke. And the truth he spoke was not, I am God, worship me. The truth he spoke was, you are just like me, and you can do what I do even better. That was his message. Pile number 3, that's your message too. Woo! That's your message. How do you feel about that? Is it a lot of responsibility? Depends how you look at it. Well, is it a lot of responsibility? I guess yes and no. I guess it is a lot of responsibility. Because, speaking of these truths is not always convenient. It's not always possible. And it's not always welcomed. So all I'm going to say is despite the fact that you're here to spread the message of oneness, don't shove it in people's throats. Let them decide. You're just here to be a free being, doing what you're designed to do, which is to remember and channel. And whatever people do with it is up to them. The best you can do is be an example. Be an example how to live in oneness with Source. Oh, in order for you to share how to be in oneness with Source, you have to be in oneness with Source. Part number 3, you have a very challenging job of embodying Source. I'm going to let you figure out what that means to you, but it's a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal. For one, Source is the source of all power. When you embody your source, or when you embody Source, you also embody all the Source's power, which makes you a very, very powerful being. We all have it. We're just not consciously tapping into it. You, pound number 3 in this lifetime, are to fully step into that energy. Wow. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And yes, you're supposed to stand out. So if you have any fears around standing out, sorry to tell you, you're supposed to stand out. Because you're different in that way. Not because you're better, not because somebody else is worse. It's just because you're different. You represent a different level of frequency. And that's something that many people are not used to. That's something that may rub people the wrong way. That's okay. If you're rubbing people the wrong way, something is happening. So you likely have an effect of triggering people. The triggers are interesting because they reveal our story, right? So you're here to be a powerful healer. You're here to embrace Source, not only embrace, embody Source. And you are here to share that Source with everyone, oneness. You're here to help unite body, spirit, and mind. That's what I'm here to say. 2 is number of choices and decisions. For some of you, there is a path and then it's splitting like in a fork. There's a choice for you to make 5 around the month of May or 5 months from now. So it's either in May or May, June, July, August, or around September. You will have a choice to make, and it's because you are in a frequency upgrade. And this upgrade to you means shift of path or change of path. For some of you, it might be a surprise to you. If it makes no sense to you right now, don't make it make sense. It's just something you're not able to see right now, and that's okay. And by the way, this is termed as opportunity, and it's good. So some of you will be presented with opportunities, but it will require you to make a choice. And for some of you, this choice will have a financial implication. So that may mean changing what you do for a living or what you consider qualify as job. Divine support. Whatever path you're on, whatever process you're going through, whatever decisions or choices that you are going to be making, you are fully supported. If it was me, and this is a tough one, I'm not giving anyone any advice because I don't give advice. I can only share what I would do. What I would do is if you come to the fork in the road and you need to choose and decide, if you're able to sit on it and really tune into your heart, because remember, your heart is far more intelligent than your head. And sometimes you will be at odds. Your head will tell you something, your heart will tell you something else. And this is where trust comes in. Remember, we're learning how to trust. This is where trust comes in. And you're going to have to trust your intuition. Now, if your intuition says jump into a fire, then I wouldn't listen to it. Okay? Have good head on your shoulders. But if your head is playing game with you and it's thinking in terms of lack and your heart is telling you something more, then I would encourage you to listen to your heart and then see how your intellect can support you in that. The universe is fully supporting you. Okay? Many of you are here to overcome some pretty big karmic lessons. And once you let go of these lessons, free. You are free. What are some of the lessons? I can't be myself. So if you have a story in your mind saying, well, I can't be myself, otherwise, blah, 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 you want to consider looking at that. If you, in fact, feel like you can't be yourself, ask the question, why? Why? Because you're here to be yourself. For you to do this work, for you to be this amazing channel, you have to trust in yourself. You have to be yourself. You have to be yourself fully, without restrictions. So if there's a story running in your mind that says, I can't be true to myself, or they're going to leave me, or I can't be myself because if I say something, people are not going to like it. No, you're not able to be yourself because you're afraid. Likely because you're afraid of being rejected. There is a saying, sometimes rejection is God's protection. Have you heard that before? Sometimes rejection is God's protection. You're not here to be validated by anyone. You have the deepest form of validation that exists. You're validated and qualified by source itself. You're not here to prove anything to anybody, certainly not yourself. Well, of course, at work, you have to prove yourself, yes, but I'm not talking about. So if you have a story running in your mind, I can't be myself, ask the question, why? What are you afraid of? And what if you're wrong? What if when you are yourself, your actual life becomes so much better because you're not in so much resistance with yourself. And if you're in resistance with yourself, I can guarantee you, you're not going to be a fully open channel because you're going to resist. And you're here to be a full channel. Again, whether you call yourself that or not, entirely up to you. And again, we all channel all the time. Everybody does it. But you're here to share universal truths. You're here to help humanity come into one. You are here to help people realize their potential by remembering who they are. In order for you to teach people or share with them how to remember who they are, you have to remember who you are. This is your biggest pile number 3. It's to remember who you are. When you remember who you are, when you embody who you are, you're virtually unstoppable. Yes, you still have a body. Yes, you still have challenges, but the way you deal with your challenges in your life, it's night and day. So whatever changes you're going through, whatever forks in the road present themselves to you, you're fully guided and fully supported. Your job is to make sure that you don't make these choices out of lack of frequency. Sometimes it's not easy, but you're here to be a full-fledged channel. See how that lands with you. All right. That's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, listening. If you would like to have a private session with me, they're asking me to say that. The information is down below. If you are local, then that is Vancouver, Canada, I will be holding a breathwork session with energy healing on May 8th. And that information is also down below. So if you're interested and if you're local, I would love to have you. And with that said, I wish you happy Easter if you are celebrating Easter. And I look forward to seeing your comments. Let me know how this resonates with you. And I look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Bye-bye.